elimination communication is not something that our culture generally does. It's not like we can go to our sister or our mom or our best friend and be like, how do I do this breastfeeding thing? How are you handling sleep at night? What do I do about baby schedules? Everybody and their sister have an opinion about that. But nobody has an opinion about elimination communication that's valuable, because if they haven't done it, their opinion is not valuable. I said it. If you don't have anybody in your community or your circle to learn from who's already doing this, how the heck are you supposed to figure this out? Hello and welcome to Held and Heard. This is a podcast for pregnant and postpartum mamas who want to feel more connected to their babies and more confident in themselves. Here, we talk about elimination communication and infant potty learning as a way of listening, not as something to add to your plate, but as a way to better understand what your baby has been communicating from the very beginning. This is a place where you learn to trust your baby and yourself. I'm your host, Heather Medlin, mother of 3, infant potty learning educator, and founder of Ready from Birth, where I guide postpartum mamas through every stage of early potty learning, from birth to toilet independence. Each week, I'll help you slow down, tune in, and discover just how aware and capable your baby already is, so you can meet them with confidence instead of doubt. Your baby is communicating, and you are capable of listening. Let's get started. I got a fantastic question from one of our podcast listeners this week, and she wrote to me on Instagram, and she shared everything that's going on with her baby and just the uncertainty that she feels and confidence to know that she's doing it right. And she said, I feel like it is so much to be understanding all of these subtle cues. I put her on the potty at certain cues that I think might be it, but she doesn't seem to go, or she cries, or she works on a poop for minutes on end and looks like she's working on it, but then nothing comes out. And I feel bad if I'm holding her there for 10 minutes. Her body is so little. Is it bad for her posture or too tiring for her muscles? Is she straining them too much? Is it harming her pelvic floor? I just want to know how you stayed so grounded to trust your intuition when you began and were in trial and error phase. I am clearly overwhelmed. So, y'all, this is so honest and so real. And I read that this week and I was like, yep, this is what the podcast is going to be about this week, because I know she is not the only one feeling this way. So I wanted to share a little bit about my experience and how did I stay so grounded and so confident in what I was doing to make this work. And first and foremost, I want to give you a little bit of context. I did not do EC with my baby until it was my second baby. So I already had the benefit of, this was my second rodeo. I already knew what I was doing from a breastfeeding, baby sleep, postpartum recovery standpoint. I already knew what I was doing. And so I wasn't trying to learn everything all at once. I already had a 2-year-old. I already knew what the game was. I knew when sleep was coming. I knew what was going to happen. I knew what the cues meant, not just potty cues, but hunger cues, sleepy cues, when she's uncomfortable versus when she just wants a toy over there. I understood all that already. And so that was my foundation of just straight motherhood before I added EC on top of it. And I know for a lot of you, you're starting EC with your first baby. You're trying to do this in the context of the just absolute raw refinery of early first-time motherhood, where you just went from living your best life, double income, no kids, to now we have a third human that we have to take care of, and everything changes. So I understand that. And my first postpartum experience, I was crying in the rocking chair in the nursery, trying to figure out why my baby wouldn't sleep. And then he wouldn't poop. And it had been like a week and a half since he had pooped, and I didn't know what to do. This was at close to 6 months. My then not husband and I were fighting all the time. We were exhausted. We were just at each other. We were living together for the first time after having a long distance relationship. We got pregnant 9 months into that relationship. So you can imagine things were raw. And I didn't know about elimination communication then. I wish I had. I would love it if I had. But I was trying to do cloth diapers. That was really important to me from a sustainability standpoint. And so My now husband and I were doing the best that we could with the information that we had available. And we weren't doing a very great job at it, to be quite honest. So it wasn't until I heard about it on a podcast 15 months later when my son was 15 months old. And I heard an interview between, hey, Shayla, I don't know if you know her, awesome podcast, Shayla, if you're listening, interviewing Andrea Olson of Go Diaper Free. And they're talking about elimination communication. And Shayla had done it with her babies. And Andrea, of course, wrote the book. She's like the godmother of EC in the US right now. And I heard this and I was immediately like, yes, this is me. This aligns with my values. I want to do this. I want to try it with my baby now. I want to try it with any future babies I have. This is me. This aligns. I'm all in. So I immediately ordered the book. So that was the third thing. I invested in professional help because elimination communication is not something that our culture generally does. It's not like we can go to our sister or our mom or our best friend and be like, how do I do this breastfeeding thing? How are you handling sleep at night? What do I do about baby schedules? You know, everybody and their sister have an opinion about that. But nobody has an opinion about elimination communication that's valuable because if they haven't done it, their opinion is not valuable. I said it. If you don't have anybody in your community or your circle to learn from who's already doing this, how the heck are you supposed to figure this out? We unfortunately do not live in a culture where this is prevalent and generally practiced. It is, by the way, very common in other parts of the world, in more developing cultures where disposable diapers are not readily available or there's not a lot of disposable income to purchase them. In more rural communities and rural cultures, baby wearing is really common, and baby wearing and elimination communication go hand in hand. If you have your baby on your back while you're working or you're farming or whatever it is that you're doing, you are going to know immediately when your baby needs to go potty. And it's very simple to recognize the signal, take them out, take them to the potty. Elimination communication is common in other cultures where we do not have this rift between the mother and the baby, where we're constantly separating the mother and the baby, whether that's putting them in a bouncer, putting them in a stroller, putting them in a crib in their own room, putting them in daycare, going to work. All of these things in our culture are designed to separate us. Well, it's very hard to recognize your baby's signals when you're not next to your baby. So it's not widely practiced here. When I heard this initially, I was immediately sold. I was immediately like, yep, this is what I want to do. So I invested in professional help from someone who I recognized was a trusted and experienced expert. She had already done this with her kids. I don't know how many she had at the time. She had at least 5, I think, that she had done elimination communication with. And Shayla had done it also. So I heard them. I trusted them. I was like, okay, like I don't need a scientific study to tell me that this is real. I trust the lived experience of these other women that I already trust for other reasons. And the book was super helpful because it gave me a complete framework of how to do this. It had visuals, it had how to, it had here's what to do in this different scenario. So that was fantastic. That's all I needed to get started. And I did try to introduce the potty to my 15-month-old at the time. I bought the little potty. I tried to sit him on it. Of course, I did not get the understanding of signals of a toddler from reading the book. If you have an older baby or a toddler, you know, trying to catch that pee signal is like finding a needle in a haystack. It happens very rarely and usually not when you're looking. So I was not obviously offering at the right time. And of course, he wanted nothing to do with it. I was very unsuccessful getting my 15-month-old to sit on the potty, and we did not potty train until he was 26 months old after my daughter was born. So my daughter was 5 weeks old, my second baby, when we started EC with her, and we also started potty training him the exact same day we committed to this. And during that time between when I first heard about this, bought the book, I was pregnant with my daughter. I think I got pregnant with my daughter almost immediately thereafter. It was around that time. I finished reading the book, laid the framework. I don't think I finished the book until I had actually had her. And I was reading it on Kindle on my phone in the middle of the night during breastfeeding sessions, being like, okay, so what do I do again? So it's really helpful to have that resource while I was breastfeeding, while I had my baby, because she was there so I could immediately observe her and connect the dots of, oh, this is what she's talking about. When she's squirming while she's breastfeeding, that means she needs to go potty. And I talk about this all the time. The feeding potty cues are the easiest to recognize because they usually go hand in hand versus just a regular, you're out at the grocery store and trying to notice your baby's potty cue. It can be a little harder to recognize. So I was able to recognize that signal after a feed at just 5 weeks old. And I noticed her getting fussy after a feeding session. And I was like, oh, maybe this is a potty cue. And so I sat her on my older son's Baby Bjorn potty. We still have it. You guys see it in my Instagram reels all the time. Sat her right there. She peed instantly and just full body relaxed in my hands. The relief was palpable and her face said it all. It said everything I needed to know. What I really want you to hear, if you hear nothing else from this week's podcast, is that the resource, the book, gave me the confidence to get started, but my baby taught me the rest. It was the lived experience of actually applying this with my own baby, who obviously is different from your baby, different from her babies, living this out, practicing this day in and day out over 10, 15 potty opportunities a day for her entire first year and onward. She's 3.5 now. I've been doing this almost 3.5 years. And when you live this day in and day out with your children, and then of course my son was different from her. So my baby is the one who really taught me and truly gave me the confidence to keep going. Because when you see that calm response and that full visceral body reaction when their needs are met, and not just in the moment after you've pottied your baby, you've caught their pee or poop, and they just have that relief of, like they figured it out. I've let go. I'm empty. It feels so good. That relief in the moment, and then just the calm demeanor that you see all the time. I've talked to so many women who EC their babies, and other people are constantly commenting to them, wow, you have such a good baby. Your baby is so calm. Your baby is so chill. Wow, how did you get your baby to sleep like that? Y'all, it's not rocket science. These people are pottying their babies. Their needs are being met. If you're not pottying your baby, if you are just leaving them in a diaper, waiting for something to react to, you're not meeting your baby's needs. I said it. You heard it here first. I love you. And I know that it feels easier to do what everyone else is doing and leaving your baby in a diaper because it feels a little bit off the beaten path to potty your baby. It feels a little bit risky. Your pediatrician might not be on board. Thankfully, all of my pediatricians have been like, wow, that's awesome. I can totally see why that works. Not one has said, you know what? I didn't learn about that in med school. Therefore, it's fake news. Not one. Every single one of them has said, well, that makes total sense. It's awesome that you're able to do that. And I'm able to do that because I stuck with it. I got started and then I just allowed it to be a practice that teaches me. Because the flip side of the calm response after the catch is the frustration when you offer it the wrong time. The full body no, the arching your back, kicking straight out when they walk into the bathroom. Because they see that you think it's potty time and they know it's not. And their no can be just as strong and real as their yes. And when you learn to read that and read that difference and see that this is a signal, this is going to be a signal in a few minutes. I'm expecting them to need to go and I'm watching it build and I'm waiting for it to be now. Because if you're offering too soon, your baby doesn't need to go yet and you're frustrating your baby. If you're offering too late and they've just peed in their pants and now you're offering, you're frustrating your baby because you missed the signal in the first place. And I'm not saying this to try to dissuade you from trying. I'm saying this to show you that every single pee or poop in your baby's life is an opportunity to learn, for you to learn what's working, learn what's not working, refine your timing, understand your baby's subtle cues. Here's a tip that almost nobody talks about. Everybody always asks me, how do you know when your baby is done? When is your baby done? Listen, if you have a baby who's 0 to 8 months, I would say, before they can sit, maybe 0 to 6 months, depending on the size of your baby, up until the point where they can sit independently on a potty, if you are holding them, they will kick their legs out when they're done. They will be still and relaxed while you are pottying them and they need to go. And when they're done, there's no more, they'll start kicking a leg. And it's every time. And once I saw this and I realized that that was what was happening, I saw it every single time. And that is what I teach in my course in Born Ready, which I have developed from my actual lived experience of applying the basic foundation of what I learned in Andrea Olson's book to my actual life as a working mom with childcare, with a hybrid of cloth diapers and disposables. Let's be honest, it was mostly disposables because my baby was in childcare. Yes, I was using cloth diapers on the weekends, but for the most part, girlfriend was in disposables, Costco disposables. We did not have Hero back then. And she was fine. It still worked because I adapted what I learned in the first place to my real busy working mom life with an older toddler and a business I'm trying to build on the side. And I was still able to make it work. Because here's the thing. I don't have time for a framework that is all about saving the diaper, that is all about getting every catch ahead of time so that we're not making any messes, we're not missing anything. If I was in a situation where I didn't have a washing machine, then yes, I would be more concerned about that. But I do have a washing machine, and I also have 3 kids, and I also have a career that I love, and I'm also trying to build a business that spreads awareness about this amazing ability of our babies, like every human baby around the world, because I care and I want you guys to know about this. And I want you to see that you can do it too. So I'm doing all of these things. Y'all, I need to sleep more. Somebody please send help. I need to sleep more. I digress. I was able to make this work because I figured out how to do this dialed in. I do not take my baby to the potty unless she or he is signaling and telling me like, now, I need to go now. Because when you do that, when you wait for the signal and you have the vision to be able to see it, because you've learned the framework that actually shows you this is the signal and you will always be able to see it. You will always know when your baby needs to go, when they don't need to go, and when they're done. And when you have that vision and it clicks, this gets to be so fast and so easy and so effortlessly folding into your real everyday life that you're already living because you're not spending 15 minutes in front of the potty. You're not hanging out in the bathroom at a restaurant. You know that when you go in there and you take your baby's diaper off, they're going to go right away. There have been so many times where I'm at Costco or I'm at a restaurant or I'm in the preschool orientation for my older kids and my baby signals that they need to go. And I will wait. I will wait a minute. I will tell them, hey, I see that you need to go. We're going to go in a minute. And I will wait. So that by the time I get there, and I'm usually wearing my baby when this is happening, so we're like in sync, I can feel them. And 9 times out of 10, not that I never miss because I do, I'm real, I'm human, I'm not perfect, but 9 times out of 10, I will go to the bathroom and they will go instantly because I don't have time to do this any other way. I had to make this work for my life in a way that was fast, consistent, and predictable. And if you want to learn how to do it that way, that's what my course Born Ready is all about. And it is not just there to teach you the basics of EC and the 4 easy catches, which you can literally learn anywhere on the internet at this point. Type it into your AI. I'm sure it would love to tell you what to do. I'm not here to teach you what to do. I'm here to teach you how to see so that you can get in, get out, and get back to the life that you are trying to build that is important to you and that you value. All right. Thanks so much for listening today. I would love to hear what you thought about this episode. If you would like to let me know how you're liking this content, if there are things you would love for me to talk about, questions that you may have, maybe you've tried this with your baby and you want to share a win with me, you can either DM me at readyfrombirth.ec on Instagram, or you can write to me at hello@readyfrombirth.com. Hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time. Bye for now. If you loved today's episode, would you take a moment to help me reach even more mamas with this message? Leave me a review or share this with a friend. You can help even more families discover what's possible. You can find education and support for every stage of your baby's potty learning journey at readyfrombirth.com. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at readyfrombirth.ec. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be back every Monday with a brand new episode. See you next time. Bye for now.